So for about 2 years now, we've been hounding the Liberals about how much the illegal aliens are costing Canadians each year, and they finally released numbers. And first of all, these are incomplete numbers because they don't take into account what provinces and cities are spending to take care of these illegal aliens, like including social services, welfare, whatnot. They're not taking into account how it's affecting the labor market. There's many things they're not taking into account. So the numbers they released said that on average it cost like $14,000 per person. It's like something like $330 million a year, but the true cost is upwards of or higher than $1 billion. Like the conservatives, they estimated it to be about 1.1 billion, but like I said, that still isn't even considering the impact that it has on jobs and the wages and everything else. So all the liberal propaganda telling us that these people are going to enrich our economies is bullshit. A lot of the Syrian refugees that are coming across still don't have a job. Like, I think it's like 80% of them don't have a job, are on social assistance. They've been here for years. These people are not going to be the next inventors and creators and shit in Canada. Yes, the media is going to point to a Syrian here or an illegal alien that's crossing the border here or there that is creating some jobs for some people, but largely they're just going to be a drain on society, a drain on the resources, and this is just a reality that we have to understand. We can't just open our hearts stupidly and let all these people in to take advantage of our generosity and of our laws and our legal system. Because if these people keep appealing their decision, if they get accepted once, it's 9,000, but if you keep appealing, it can cost up to like 30 some $1,000. And a lot of these people, even though they get rejected after appealing like 5 times, they still stay in the country. They've only deported what, like 500 people, maybe a little bit more since then, out of the, I don't know, 70,000 illegal aliens that have crossed into the border since like 2015. And this has directly to do with Trudeau's tweet that was viewed by, that was retweeted 400,000 times, that was liked 700,000 times. I've read countless stories where people directly reference that tweet as to why they're coming into Canada, as to why they're flying from their country into America to cross into our border. It's because of Trudeau and his stupidity and him not wanting to close the border and fix the Safe Third Country Agreement Act, but that's because he doesn't want to do that. He's waiting for the UN Global Immigration Compact to be signed so then he can be like, well, see, it's against the law for me to close the border. I can't do anything about it. It's the world trade or the world law. The UN, they're gonna shake their fingers at me and they're not gonna give me a seat on some council or some shit, some security council, which is nonsense. Like, look at the Human Rights Council in the UN. It's like Saudi Arabia, China, like all of these countries that are just treat like people horribly and have like a horrible human rights record. So the UN is a fucking joke. Trudeau is a globalist. He's trying to bring in a bunch of people who he wants to eventually vote for him. That's going to increase his base, so then the liberals have absolutely no chance of ever losing again, because he's going to steal wealth that old stock Canadians are generating and giving it to all these illegal aliens that are coming into the country, and he's going to fast track them onto citizenship to become Canadian citizens. He's going to give them all, like he's doing, working permits, so then a bunch of businesses can get cheap labor that they're calling for right now. That's why they're like, oh, we need to increase immigration levels because people, your citizens, want too much money, right? But this is insane. More than $1 billion a year. Like, and oh, this is these immigrants are just like the people who came into Canada hundreds of years ago and created the civilization that these people are coming in to exploit. It's like that's the biggest crock of shit ever. That's what they try to sell to us. Like, oh, these people are just like you, just like your ancestors. It's like, no, our ancestors came here and built a country out of nothing. Okay, the natives didn't have some huge civilization that we came and just kicked them out of and started inhabiting. Okay, they didn't build anything. It was our ancestors that came and created everything that these people want today. My ancestors came here hundreds of years ago, lived in an overturned fucking wagon when they first immigrated here. You know, farmed the land that there was nothing there before, created crop, and you know, after they were there for many years, then they actually produced something that and then brought other people over, and then they developed farms, developed communities, developed cities, developed towns. You know, so it's just laughable how we're compared to our ancestors are compared to these people. It's like, no, you're coming in to exploit a system that has been built up by our ancestors, and it's like, you know, it's completely laughable. And then you got the same people, oh well, you took the Aboriginals' lands and you took their shit and whatnot. But like I said, they didn't build anything. There was nothing here, okay? And you know, it's bad what happened to them. You know, it's not good that people came and then took their land per se, right? And you know, contracted diseases and had a lot of them die from diseases. Like, that's not good. But just because what happened to them wasn't good and stuff doesn't mean that you guys have the right to do it to us. That people have the right to just, oh well, you guys came and took the natives' land and took it from them and killed them and whatnot. And like, you know, history is much more nuanced to that as well. You know, there was lots of cooperation between Aboriginals and Europeans and different Europeans, but all European people get grouped into the same group. It's like we're all English all of a sudden. It's like, you know, my ancestors were French. They, like, you know, they worked with a lot of Aboriginal people and stuff for hundreds of years. You know, I'm a direct descendant of Marianne Gaboury, who is the grandmother of L'Oreal, who is like, you know, a Métis guy, was considered now the founder of Manitoba. You know, so it's like we all get lumped in to be like, oh, you're all this, you're all colonizers, and you're all, you know, evil and this and that. And even the English were not that bad either, you know. And like, you know, there's things in all of our histories that we do regret that have been done and that need to, yes, be acknowledged. You know, you don't whitewash history, make it seem like it never happened, have people never talk about things that happened, right? Because the only way to move past stuff is to speak about it, right? But what is going on now is just, you know, it's like in Quebec, they're now removing scenes where Aboriginal people, you know, butchered and massacred a bunch of Europeans, right? And they're like, oh, add context to it, or just taking it out completely. Other instances where they attack because they're like, oh, well, it's, you know, it's racist and it's making them out to be bad. So now all the references we only have is of Europeans doing bad things to them. So what kind of perception does the younger generation get of themselves, of their own people? They think, you know, oh, we're bad. Our ancestors were bad. They came here. They fucked everything up. They killed these noble savages and stole their land. You know, there was no back and forth. There was no them working together whatsoever. There was no inter-conflict between tribes before. They were all just working together, hand in hand. They didn't fight in war and enslave one another. You know, that only happens because of Europeans, you know, which is complete fucking nonsense. So, you know, but that whole narrative about how we came in, stole this land, did all that stuff, that helps other people come in and feel okay about taking advantage of our country and our resources, like a lot of these illegal aliens are doing right now. They're coming in, they have no issue with bogging down the court system. You know, now people have to wait like 6-7 years to actually get asylum. So there are some legitimate refugees in the world that, you know, like that Asia Bibi girl in fucking Pakistan that the UK is like unwilling to take because it's going to enrage their Muslim population. And that's exactly what they said. They're like, no, it's going to create tension in like the Muslim community, and they're going to take it as an insult. So, you know, that's multiculturalism for you. And us letting in a bunch of these people right now that are, I don't know what their religion is, but they have their own culture and shit and what they find offensive. And the more that you bring in a bunch of different cultures, the less unity that we're all going to have, because we all have different values. We all have things that we think is right and wrong. You know, like I said, in the Muslim community in the UK, they're like, well, she condemned the Prophet Muhammad, or she drank from the same water fountain as a Muslim, so she deserves to be killed. She deserves this, right? Which is crazy, insane, but that's what they fucking believe. And, you know, this is more proof that some cultures are indeed better than others. Now, I'm not saying you can't learn anything from other cultures. I have lots of respect for lots of different cultures in the world and how they live and, you know, how they've survived throughout generations and stuff. But, you know, killing people because they drink from the same water fountain as you is fucked up. And I don't want that here in my country, and we're just letting this happen with letting our border open, leaving it open wide. You know, these people are eventually going to just keep coming over. We're not going to do anything about it. Like I said, the UN Global Compact is going to make migration a human right, and of course Trudeau is going to follow that law to a T, right? He's going to do everything about anything he can to, you know, appease the UN. So, you know, like I said, he gets that council position, so he's going to sell all of us out the river, and it's going to cost us more than $1 billion every year, and it's just going to rise. The costs are going to get worse, and this is just these people, right? This is just the 24,000 people that are coming in through the border illegally. That's costing more than $1 billion. What about the refugees that we're bringing in every year from other countries that are in the numbers of 20 to 30,000 people? It's going to be another $1 billion. And then what is our government doing? We're running deficits. We've increased the deficit this year by another $1 billion to what? Pay for these people come into the country? And oh, we're doing so great economically. We're doing amazingly, right? It's just complete nonsense, right? You know, it's just they try to tie our economic growth that we are having, right? The GDP rising to some extent, you know, and it's like our you know, it's not even that good. It's like 2%, but like to us, we're like, oh, it's great. This is amazing. Even though like in America, Trump is getting upwards of like 4%, where people said like, oh, that was impossible. You know, it's because we have too many fucking regulations. We're restricting too many things, and we're letting in too many freeloaders come into our country to abuse our generosity, right? Because there's a lot of just dumb idiot, useful idiots that think, oh, we gotta let these people in, and you know, we got infinite resources. We must do this, if otherwise we're morally corrupt and we're bad people. But you know, we don't have infinite resources. We can't just keep taking in these people. It's our shelters already have 40% filled with refugees. It's only going to become more. We have tons of homeless people in Canada that we need to take care of right now. There is an opioid epidemic that is going on throughout Canada that is destroying people's lives, and we're not giving two shits about it. And that is also being brought in by a lot of these Chinese fucking triads type or whatever gangs that are bringing in all of this fucking fentanyl from China. And then, you know, we're getting fucked. Canadians, we're getting fucked, and this is just a small taste of the cost every single year. And remember, we're running deficits. We're running deficits every year on the backs of, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like this is just a small glimpse of how governments spend and waste money. They're wasting money in many other areas too, but especially when it comes to immigration, bringing in people who are just going to be a burden, it's like, what the fuck are we thinking? We clearly are not thinking. And like I said, these people, they're coming in from America. They're coming in from a safe country. It's insane that we just think that it's okay. And the only reason we do is because the media has been pushing this narrative that Trump is an evil, racist bigot, and he's out to, like, I don't know, kill minorities or something. So these people have legitimate asylum claims because America is no longer a safe fucking country. So it's all tied in together, and all these useful idiots buy it. But one day they're going to regret it. They're going to wake up. They're not going to recognize their community anymore. They're going to see an increase of crime and, just degeneracy, division in the future. And they're going to wonder to themselves, how did this happen? What could we have done to have prevented this? Well, not sticking your head in the sand, looking around could have helped you, not being a fucking coward and worrying about what people are going to say about you because you say, like, I don't really think this is a good idea that we're completely changing our culture so fast. A lot of people just aren't saying anything because they're afraid, because they're cowards, and you are going to regret it. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.